Welcome to Curated by Culture. Welcome back to Curated by Culture. I kept saying, don't say welcome, and then I still said welcome. Welcome back, season 3. Um, I'm so excited. I don't even know what to say. First of all, different couch, right? Lots of new things happening. Lots of new things have been happening for me personally. I hope they've been happening for you as well. First things first, let's get straight to it. How's your head? How's your heart? Um, I myself have to stop and answer that, but I always want you guys to answer that. Answer me when I ask you that because check in on yourself. And I've been checking in on myself a lot lately. I have been so busy. And though I am physically well and blessed beyond measure when it comes to every aspect of my life, my heart and my head are not okay. Mentally and emotionally, I am not okay. So I check in on myself every day. I take a pause every so often. I have been recording episodes for this season, but I did not want to act like nothing was happening. So I have stopped recording and I've started kind of shifting my focus a little bit because I did want to like I had actually planned on season 3 starting maybe 2 months ago. But the last 2 months have been just insane. And so I didn't feel right starting with just, hey, yeah, everything is good. Everything is not good. So that's what's happening there. And that's what's gotten me here because I felt like, maybe I should just go to the couch and record. And so here I am. And so welcome back to Curated by Culture. I'm excited. Thank you as always for joining me. I'm your curator, Cassandra, for those that don't know. Um, my goodness, I don't even know where to start. I have so much to talk about this season, but trust and believe that the love-a-lution, not only does it continue, but I have now doubled down on it. Like, I have had so many great conversations over the last couple of months. My summer was crazy. I hope your summer was great. But crazy good, not crazy bad. Um, so many things have happened, but I wanted to get back to it. Thank you guys. Some of you have DM'd me, some of you have texted me, emails, calls. They're like, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? So I appreciate the nudges because I can do this sometimes, but I can't do it all the time. Like I have to take a break. I'm not like the camera thing is not my thing. So here I am. So where do I begin? What do I want to say? I have so much to say. I have notes that I had taken for the episode that I thought I was going to use, but once I hit record, before I hit record, I was on a TikTok live and I got into a kind of discussion with a group of people and like I kind of like got off track. So bear with me. If you are somebody who follows my business side of things, you know that I have my website. And on my website, I have my journal. And every now and then I will write in that thing. I write more in an actual journal, but I am going to be very intentional. And I need you guys to hold me to it. I'm going to be very intentional about writing in my journal more often. I want to try to write at least once a week, maybe twice a week, but twice is pushing it. Like you guys know me, right? So, but I did recently, November 11th to be exact, I wrote a journal entry titled For the Love of Humanity. And I would love if you would read it if you are a human or if you like to read. I would love for you guys to read it. But it's kind of also in line of what I'm feeling called to talk about right now is just humanity. So if you are not paying attention, if you don't have a TV, like I admittedly don't watch TV. So, some things could miss me. A lot of things do miss me. Sometimes people are talking about things. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I don't have a TV and I don't watch the news. I don't watch Western news anyway. I watch world news and I don't follow the same news stations that other people follow. I follow more truth journalism. But either way, if you have been paying attention, if you have been watching the news, you know, if you're not and you live under a rock, I'll share what's going on with you. A lot is going on. A lot of things are going on around the world, but the most prominent and biggest kind of focus story right now, which is sad because the other stories are equally as devastating. But Palestine, what's going on in Palestine? The Palestinians are being ethnically cleansed by our government and by the Israeli government, unfortunately. And it is probably, for me, the most tragic thing I've ever had to witness. It is what has me so broken. It is why I could not start sooner, because every time I sat down to record this episode, because I could not start with just acting like nothing was happening. Every time I sat down to record this episode, I couldn't do it because I would start crying, like uncontrollably crying, to the point where I'm like, all right, let me just turn the camera off. So I probably have like 30 10-minute videos somewhere saved. But I am going to get through it because it is getting worse by the day, and I cannot act like it's not happening. We cannot act like it's not happening. And I feel really called to just talk. Sometimes we don't know. One thing I've gotten from a lot of conversations from people is, I just don't know enough, or it's complicated, or this or that. And okay, I let that slide for the first few weeks. Like, it's complicated because even myself, and I'll admit to this, I myself didn't really know enough to speak immediately. When it first happened, on October 7th, I did not even hear about it because, like I said, I don't watch the news. And I had been kind of on a tech break altogether from a really busy season. So when I finally did come around to reading, I had learned about it mostly from my Jewish friends, my Jewish clients, who I love dearly. And they had said this, they were talking, and I logged into Instagram and I'd seen a bunch of videos of people saying, would you hide me? Would you hide me? I'm like, what are they talking about? And, understanding more, like, they're leading it to the Holocaust. They're kind of hinting at the Holocaust and the Anne Frank and all that other stuff. I was like, of course I would. Are you kidding me? And realistically, as most humans would think, we always think if we were around back in the days when this happened or that happened, how different we would be or what we would do. We're here now. And a lot of us are not saying and or doing the things we thought we would say or do. And, upon learning that, I was like, of course. And my heart was broken. And I'm like, I can't believe this happened. And me being me, I'm like, well, let me get into it. Right. So I started reading and I started looking and I started researching and I started paying better attention. And slowly but surely I started seeing, well, wait a minute. Something is wrong. Something is definitely up, but it's not what you're saying. It's not this thing, it's this other thing. And it didn't start on October 7th. It started almost 75 years ago. And it's not as simple as you're making it. And yes, it is complicated. But as a human being, what is not complicated is, never in the history of life has hate and violence solved hate and violence, right? So upon learning about that, then, you're watching what Israel's doing, the Israeli government is doing to the Palestinians day in and day out. It just got like increasingly worse. And I became completely uncomfortable with even the idea of, quote unquote, condemning Hamas, because I'm like, well, I don't see these people. I don't see what they're doing. I haven't seen video footage, and I still haven't. And it's not to say that they haven't done anything. I don't know, and I don't want to draw any conclusion, and I don't want you to assume that I'm drawing a conclusion either way. But what I do know is, as they're searching for this group that they've labeled a terrorist organization, they have also been wiping out entire neighborhoods, entire families. To date, I think something like 20,000 people have been martyred, have been killed in Palestine. And I don't know. It's the complicated part is that it's uncomfortable maybe for people to talk about. But what's not complicated is that 20,000 people do not have to die. That's not complicated. And that's where I'm kind of like, wait a minute, how do we talk about this? How do we as humans talk about this? So that's what my article, my journal entry is about, the love of humanity. And this is where I want to talk to us about. We as people on this planet, we have that one commonality. We all bleed blood and we are all made of flesh and bone. That's it. Nothing else about us is the same. We have different faiths, we have different hair, different texture, different hair texture, should I say, different eye colors. Everything about us is different values. We were all brought up differently, but we have that one thing in common. And because of that one thing that we have in common, that makes us brothers and sisters in humanity. We're all human. And like real brothers and sisters, you're not always going to like them, but you love them. And that's what kind of makes me say, wait a minute. Even if this group of people did these things, that does not justify anybody killing or wiping out or being okay with the genocide of 20,000 people. We can't be okay with that. We can't just act like it's not happening. And this is for everybody. Usually all my, I'm always like, we're not monolithic. Da, da, da. This is a general, just, it doesn't matter what color your skin is. It doesn't matter what faith you are. And truth be told, a lot of people will be led to believe that this is about Judaism versus Islam. This has nothing to do with faith. It has nothing to do with religion. It has everything to do with hate. At this point, the Israeli government has shown us that they hate anybody that is different from them. The Israeli government and their group of Zionist followers. And I don't lump Judaism into that because I know so many amazing Jewish people who are like shattered, just as equally as shattered as I am. If you're not paying attention, I need you to pay attention. If you love your children, if you have children, if you love your sisters or brothers or whomever, this is a discussion that you need to have with people. You need to say, hey, listen, we can't be okay with this. And this is where we are today, where half of the country is somewhat divided. You have people who are staying silent out of their contractual obligations, love for Jewish people, love for Israel, and all these other things. Then you have people who absolutely hate anybody that doesn't look like them or doesn't believe the same things as them. And then you have the rest of us who are just kind of like, wait a minute, hold on, we're humans. We're all humans. This is where we are right now. We're in a place where we're trying to figure out, like, what is happening? I wake up every day for the last 2 months. First of all, I don't sleep. I say I wake up like I'm waking up from cat naps. First of all, I don't sleep. I've literally probably cried every single day for the last 2 months. My poor sisters and the people who love me have had to endure me crying at any given second of any day. Any day I can start talking about something that I saw or something that I had to witness, and I'll just start crying uncontrollably. And I don't understand it. And what's craziest to me is that I am sitting here crying, screaming, why? While the Palestinians are all like, Alhamdulillah, praise be to God. It's okay. They still smile through this pain. They still smile through this grief. And I'm just kind of like, whoa. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine my daughter dying and I just have to like wrap her up in plastic and flee, run because, the government is telling me I have to leave. I can't stay in this spot. This is not okay, guys. We're not okay. As humans, we can't be okay with this. We're humans. We have to speak up and bear witness to what happens to other humans. It doesn't matter the color of their skin. It doesn't matter what they believe. It doesn't matter where they live. And it doesn't matter that it doesn't affect you, because that should affect all of us. All oppressed people. I'm talking now again to my people. We have been oppressed for many, many years. They say slavery ended, but we know the truth. We know what's still happening. They say racism is not true. We know the truth. Every time you walk out of your house, you're fighting racism. Trust me, I know. I'm somebody who's constantly discriminated against, especially in the fields that I'm in, especially with the people that I work with. But I push through, I move on because that doesn't affect me. I've never seen hate on this level before. I've never witnessed in my 46 years of life hate like this before. And it bothers me to my core. I'm shaken to my core. So much so that this is all I want to talk about these days. Like people are calling me to just like, hey, I'm like, I can't think about these things. all I can think about is the loss of life. I can't unsee the things that I have now had to see. And this is something, and I'm speaking as somebody who doesn't ever use social media. I've spent more time on social media in the last 2 months than I have probably in the last 3, 4 years. If you are following me, it's likely that Instagram has made you unfollow me. This is sidebar. It is likely that Instagram has made you unfollow me because it has scrubbed hundreds of my followers. It has scrubbed me from following people. It is silencing my voice. So I really urge you to go watch my stories. I'm posting about it all day, every day. Anything I see that I know the news isn't sharing, because the news isn't sharing it, but because the news is bought and paid for by the Israeli government. The same people who are oppressing us are oppressing the Palestinians, are oppressing the people in Congo, the Sudanese people, the Haitians, my people, not my other people, my people. They're oppressing all of us. That's why this fight is for all of us. We need to talk about it. We need to have uncomfortable conversations about it. We need to bear witness to it. We need to stop acting like life is going on. How selfish of us. How, like, just so of us. While these people are dying in all these other places, us here in America, we're just like, hey, la di da. I'm going to see Beyonce. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. It's so selfish of us. That's not human. We're humans. We need to act like humans. We cannot sit by and watch while this happens and be okay with it. It hurts me. I don't understand it. I will never understand it. Never, for as long as I live, I'll never understand how we just sat by while this happened. I'll never understand it. Over 8,000 children. Look at your children. They have names. These kids had names. And this is not new. This is not just since October 7th. This has been going on for 75 years and 2 months. We've always been blind to it because the media never shown it to us. They're not showing it to us now either, if I'm being honest. You're not really seeing what's happening. You're seeing one side of the story. This is what the news has done to us since the beginning of time. This is why they're able to label people as terror groups, or they were able to fool us with 9/11 and tell us that they just bombed us because they hate us. That's not true. I urge you, please do your research. Read a book. Find out more. Ask questions. What prompted them to just say they hate us? And the more I've learned, and in this time, so I'll say this too, in this last 2 months, I have done nothing but educate myself. I have been, I love books. You know that. You guys know that about me. I have been just buying books, reading, understanding, trying to understand, should I say, and learning so much about all the things that have been going on while the news hasn't covered it, hasn't talked about it. And truth be told, I feel like we already knew this, right? Because, especially in Black communities, we have seen things happen where we tell the cops one thing and they're like, no, that's not what happened, or this person didn't go to jail. Like, you look at Tamir Rice, Elijah McClain, you look at all these other people, all these kids who have died at the hands of police brutality, which is an oppressive system. And we know the truth. We know what happened with Trayvon. We know what happened with George Floyd. We know what happened with all these people, but the news tells a different story and it paints a different picture, and we have to go along with it. And we've been screaming for years about it. 2016 came about and we watched this election and we watched these maggots and those people just do what they did, and like, this is not true and we know it's a lie. We should have always been questioning these other things that have been happening around the world, and we haven't. So that's on us, but those days are over. There have been young journalists in Palestine, young Palestinian journalists. Are they even journalists? I think some of them just like taking pictures. They kind of became journalists because there's nobody there to tell their story. So we've been watching them while they have to lose their families, lose their livelihood. Their homes have gone up in flames and have been reduced to rubble. And they're still trying to show us what's happening. And still, we all turn a blind eye. People are still just posting their outfits and posting their date nights. And I can't understand it. I can't understand how We know better, but we're not doing better. We are humans sharing a human experience on this planet. It is our duty to speak truth to power as humans. We must open our eyes and open our mouths and say what's happening and say the truth of what's happening. Because we know that money will always suppress the rest of us. Money will always keep us silence, other people. I'm just I'm sometimes at a loss of words, but sometimes I'm so enraged that I'm just kind of like so many things to say. But I will say this. I urge you all to go to Instagram, go to TikTok, find the voices that are sharing the truth. I'm following a whole new set of people on Instagram now who have been sharing daily, posting daily, talking about what's happening every second of every day. For you to see for yourself. Don't take my word for it. You should always do your own research. But I can tell you, over the last 2 months, I've done enough research for a lifetime, and what I now know, I will never not know, and my life is forever changed because of it. The way I view things is forever changed because of what I've learned about these things that are going on around the world. I really want us to be more human. I want us to learn how to love each other better. In my journal entry, I wrote about, even though we're all different in all these other things and we have different faiths or different religions, should I say, all of our books kind of say the same thing. So whether you read the Bible, you read the Torah, or you read the Quran, our Creator, who we all believe in God, right? Our Creator commands us the same thing: love one another. It doesn't matter which book it's in. I listed scripture on each, from each book on my journal entry, but it's the same thing: love one another. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. We don't have to party together. We don't have to chill together. We don't have to do anything else together but love one another. He commands us to do that. Showing up for people who are being oppressed is loving them. Speaking out for a person who can do nothing for you but needs you is loving them. That's what loving one another means. I think we're just conditioned to only love our immediate circle, and that's always been such a weird thing to me because I'm not like that. I love everybody. I even love my enemies. I might not like a lot of people because I really don't like a lot of people. Let me be honest in saying that. But I do love everybody. I don't want to see people hurt. I don't want to see people harmed. And the reality in what we're watching and what we're having to bear witness to is, you have one group of people saying, just please, just leave us alone. And then you have another group of people saying, well, we can't live with them now. They hate us. They hate us because we're Jews. They hate us because we're the chosen people, which couldn't be farther from the truth. If you stop and really think about the idea of being the chosen people, we're all chosen. God has given us all life. That means he chose us. We're all chosen. Can they live together at this point? So much has been done, but I guarantee you, I fully, fully, fully believe that, yeah, they can live together. You think about us. We live next door to terrorists. We live down the street from rapists. We live down up the road from killers, but we still live with each other. And on the flip side of that, if there was a terrorist on your block, if there was a killer down the street, if there was a rapist next door, would the government be justified in wiping out the whole block? Like, this is weird to me. Why aren't we thinking more critically? Why aren't we asking deeper questions and saying, well, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense to me. I don't think it will ever make sense. That's the sad part. I don't think any of this will ever make sense. But I know one thing. Even if you stop what you're doing right now, today, and say, you know what, I'm going to do something, it can be the change that we need. It can be the shift that we need. I've been talking a lot with my friends in spiritual places because even that has changed, right? For those of you who know more of my personal life, at the end of 2018, I set out on this spiritual journey because I just felt disconnected. I had been sick for some time. So much was going on in my personal life. My daughter went away to college. Like everything was just insane. And I had felt like something was up, something was wrong. And so I set out on this spiritual journey to kind of figure that part of my life out. And in that, I learned so much about me. I learned so much about life. I learned so much about love. And I learned a lot about spirituality. Um, and in that, I also felt led to help other people come out of these darker spaces or these traumatic experiences, because I have felt like that's something I'd always been doing, but I had felt more called to it at that point in my life than ever. Something that this one woman I talk to a lot, she calls it like divine intervention. When God aligns you with certain people in your life, and you kind of, it's like a divine intervention. So I've always had that, which I've always had my whole life, but it had kind of gotten more intense after that personal experience for me. And so a lot of these people I had met along that journey in different places, in different countries, in different parts of the world, we've been talking more lately, and we've been feeling a great shift. Like, this is the shift the world needs. It's unfortunate that so many people have to die, but this is the shift that the world needs. So many people have now lost their lives, but it's the shift that the world needs. So this is why I felt like, let me jump on here. Let me talk to my people who tune in. Maybe my YouTube numbers aren't great. Maybe my social media numbers are great. I don't want them to be. I don't want you in those spaces looking for me, because I want you to tap in and find me where I'm at, like. So we've been talking about, and that's why I'm here. That's why I started this season off like this. That's why I'm kind of here to talk to you. I really, really, really want you all, friends. I love you all, and I mean that. Like, I always joke around with us throwing around the word love and all that other stuff, but the reality is we should love one another, and I love you all, and I mean it, which is why I'm saying this. I need you all to bear witness to what is happening. I need you to use your voice. If you're not a big social media person, if you don't have a big following, that's okay. But stop posting your personal lives like nothing is happening. Watch and see what these people are enduring and what they're going through. It shifts your perspective on everything. It should make you want to hug your children tighter at night. It should make you want to pick up the phone and call your mom if you don't talk to her every single day. It should give you faith. I've read stories that a lot of people have now converted to Islam. Atheists have converted to Islam from watching the faith and the resilience of the Muslims, the Arab, I don't know, I say Arabs, the Muslims and the Palestinian Jews and the Palestinian Christians, all of them collectively, and the faith that they have had to have in this moment. It's just, you're like, wow, the idea of me losing my child devastates me beyond understanding, but they're just kind of like, no, they're in a better place. They're happy, which is how we should view death, I guess. But I really urge you, if you can't use your voice in that way, if you are contractually bound to something, your job, and you can't say, or you fear losing your job, I understand that. I really do. But there are other ways. We have started to protest in the streets. If that's not your thing, because Lord, let me tell you, these knees are not made for protesting. Okay, if that's not your thing, there are other ways. We say boycotting all these companies, but we're not really boycotting them, because we're canceling them. We're making sure that they never come back. Starbucks is losing, I think to date, they've already lost about $12 billion from everybody divesting and getting away from them. Big banks, we're not doing that stuff anymore. We are writing our politicians, our governors, our state senators. There's so many ways, and I urge you to find one. I'm sharing them on my Instagram, which I know I normally tell you stay off social media, but in this moment, I'm saying get on social media for a minute and see what's happening. Again, Instagram has removed a lot of people from following me, so if you are no longer following me, know that it's not me. It is the system, because think about it. They don't want you to know what we've learned. They don't want you to know what we now know. There's a reason why they don't want you to know, because they've been doing wrong for 75 years. The government has been oppressing people for decades. more than 75 years. We just never were able to bear witness to it because we were never shown it. But now that we can see, you can't unsee and you can't go back. So I want you guys to see it with me. I want you guys to use your voice with me. Use your voice, and there's more than one way to use your voice. It just doesn't have to be you physically saying something or you posting something on social media, but you can talk to your children. You can have uncomfortable conversations with your neighbors, your coworkers if you have a job. You can do these things and you can shift the perspective of somebody who's like, well, I don't know, or I'm not educated. You don't need to be fully educated to know that killing other humans is wrong. I'm sorry. There's no amount of education that is needed for you to say, well, that's not okay. You shouldn't be killing people because somebody else did something. So a group of 20 came in and armed a few people, or I mean, hurt a few people. 20,000 people should die. That doesn't make sense. So I say all that to say, because I've gone into circles and loops and all this other stuff. I say all that to say, please, friends, please, 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 for the sake of humanity, for the love of humanity, use the voice that God gave you, the breath that God gives you every morning. Use it in this moment to help your brother or sister. It is imperative that we all are on one accord when it comes to the idea that people should not die senselessly at the hands of a government. That's not okay. It's not okay. It should never be okay, and it will never be okay. Please use your voice. Please say what you need to say. Please watch the TikToks and the Instagrams. Please divest from the big banks, because the big banks are funding this too. Pretty much every fast food, just about every fast food restaurant. I know McDonald's is probably the one that's highest on everybody's list, and Burger King, even Chick-fil-A is involved. I haven't heard anything about Wendy's, but who's eating Wendy's, honestly? Dunkin' Donuts, even like it's weird and it's hard. I think a lot of people have found a lot of that is really hard, but Krispy Kreme is not. So there's that. Um, but in the process of doing that, in the process of divesting and getting away from some of these companies that are supporting this war or are part of this genocide. I said war, and that's something I even say. It's not a war. War is when two people are fighting. This is a genocide. There's one group of people literally killing another group of people. That is a genocide. So they're supporting this genocide. But the beauty of that is, on the flip side of this, small businesses can flourish. I have been buying from more small businesses in the last 2 months than I probably have in the last 2 years. So that's a wonderful thing, because I'm helping somebody help their family, because I can go deeper into a rabbit hole of where our tax money is going. So if you don't know, and I will add this and then I will wrap this up, I promise. If you don't know, a portion of our taxes has gone to funding this genocide. So the government has decided that we as Americans are all going to pay for them to have what they need to pretty much kill another group of people. Um, an unknown fact that a lot of people don't know, should I say, is Israel. If you live in Israel, you get free healthcare. You get subsidized housing, and there's a lot of great incentives for living in Israel. A lot of that comes from the US government. That comes from our taxes. So we are all here on this country trading our most valuable resource, which is our time, for money. And from that, they take a portion of our taxes. From everything that we buy, they charge us taxes. So all of our tax dollars and all of that yearly, I think it's about $3 billion a year that goes to Israel to support their genocidal needs. I almost said war again. Their genocidal needs. That money has gone to help them build an iron dome. Israel has an iron dome over them, which means like they're almost like they almost can't be attacked. Almost. They can, but almost they can't be attacked. And like I said, they get free healthcare. In this country, we pay hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for healthcare. They've told us that we can't get free education. They get it there. They've told us all these other things, and well, the reality is it's not true. So this is another reason why we should be speaking up. I know people who have 2, 3 jobs and still live in their cars because it's that hard to live in this country. But yet in Israel, they're having parties weekly for celebrating the murder of other people. It is a sad state of affairs, friends. I need you to use your voice. I need you to do all the things, divest, boycott, protest, have the conversations, keep talking about it because they want us to stay quiet. They are banking on our silence. They are banking on us getting tired. And truth be told, a lot of us are exhausted. A lot of us are exhausted, but we are in this fight for the love of humanity. We are in this fight for just the idea that we all deserve the right to live. We all deserve freedom. Palestinians, more than anybody on this planet, deserve that. They have been oppressed for 75 years. And it's a longer story than I can get into, but maybe I'll share more on my journal, or maybe I'll come back and talk about it some more. But I know that you guys have a short attention span, so if I do more than 30 minutes, people are like, "Girl, I had to turn it off." Um, I'm going to end with this. I don't have any hot topics because, I can't even fathom. And you all are still talking about trending topics and who's doing what and who's raped this and who's done that. Um, for people who know me, they know, I don't watch TV, but I do listen to music and I love poetry and things like that. So Nas has a line in a song on his new album, in a song on his new album. He says, "We're programmed to survive, but it's love that we don't prioritize." So friends, I'm urging you, prioritize love in this moment. Love of humanity, love of your neighbor, love of your brother and sister. Please speak up, pay attention. Don't keep moving around like nothing is happening. Because something is happening, and it's probably the biggest something that some of us will witness in our lifetimes. So please, 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 I love you. You know what to do. Follow me on Instagram. I say that so loosely because I am getting away from that. When the dust settles, I do not want to be beholden to social media in any shape, way, or form. I really want you guys follow me on YouTube. Follow me on TikTok. I have 2 TikTok pages. I have one for the business side where you see the behind the scenes of what I do, but I also have one for the podcast. I think it's CXC. It's that simple. But follow me on social media right now so that you can see what's going on. You can see what I'm sharing. And listen, if you have questions, if you want to talk, if you're unsure, I do want to talk about this. Palestine, Congo, Sudan, Haiti, Yemen. I want to talk about life, humanity, human things. I do not want to talk about BS. I'm sorry. I mean that with all the love I can muster right now. So anyway, I'm back, season 3. Thank you for joining. Love you, Ma.